This is LBC News.
Charlotte Lynch with you here live on LBC News. It's 12 minutes past midnight on Wednesday, April the 30th. Let's return back to the US, where Donald Trump is speaking at a rally in Michigan to mark his first 100 days of his second presidency. He stated he's putting America first. He's also talked about immigration and heavily criticised his predecessor, Joe Biden. Joining me now live is our Washington correspondent, Simon Marks. Simon, thanks so much for joining us here on LBC News. You've been listening in, of course, to that press conference. Quite volatile at times, I thought, from Donald Trump, particularly with his comments about Joe Biden, but that's to be expected. But he focused heavily on immigration, didn't he? Just tell us more about what's been said.
Yeah, very much so, Charlotte. I mean, I think in many ways, while the White House had billed this as a speech for Donald Trump to celebrate and look back over 100 days of achievement in office, as they describe it, actually, in many ways, this speech has been the starting gun, I think, from Donald Trump's perspective in America's midterm election campaign. Because remember, in November of next year, which in American political terms is right around the corner, the entire House of Representatives and 1/3 of the Senate is up for grabs. So this was Donald Trump vigorously defending 100 days in office, saying people are calling it the best 100-day start of any president in history. He said that he'd achieved more in the last 3 months than most presidents achieve in 8 years. And you are absolutely right to focus on those comments that he made, inflammatory as they were, about immigration and his mass deportation of people that he calls terrorists and murderers criminals, even though, of course, of the hundreds of people that he's deported to that terrorist detention center in El Salvador, there's been no due process, no evidence. We don't even know their names, much less whether any of them have faced criminal charges in court, or simply, as we know scores of them were simply rounded up, put on planes and flown out of the country in contravention of a judge's order. But I thought it was fascinating to hear President Trump say that he believed that the number one issue that had propelled him back into the White House was immigration. So he heralded his shutdown, effectively, the sealing of America's border with Mexico, saying 99.99% of illegal immigrants are now being kept out of the country. He vigorously defended, as I say, the mass deportations. He said we're going to be a dumping ground for criminals no longer. And he accused Democrats of fighting to protect criminals working for the Tren de Aragua and MS-13 criminal cartels. He said they did not raise one word of protest as American women and girls were slaughtered by those illegal immigrants. He called the Democrats a radical party racing to the defense of some of the most violent savages on earth. Who on earth would vote for these people, he asked, to cheers in the arena there in Michigan. And by focusing on that issue, he's kind of rewriting history, because the exit polls made it clear that the number one issue that was propelling Americans to the polls in November was not immigration. It was not his plan to engage in the deporting of millions of people. It was the economy. And that, of course, has become his weakest issue as a result of the trade war, the elective tariffs that he has imposed on China and countries all over the world, including the UK. And he simply told falsehoods during the course of that speech. I mean, he claimed that he's dealing with the economy and he's creating new manufacturing jobs in places like Michigan. In reality, those are going to take years to create. And he made extraordinary claims, including asserting that the cost of eggs is down 87%. I mean, I don't know where he's buying his eggs, but they've certainly come down in price, but not by 87%. And he said that prices are coming down. The fake news won't tell you. They're trying to say prices more broadly have gone up. He even said mortgage rates just went down. Well, the mortgage rate in the United States is currently, as a result of the tumult on the financial markets, hovering at around 7%. And that has has really destroyed the possibility for new home buyers to enter the property market. He also made, I think, claims about gas and energy prices falling that are specious at best. Everything has gone down, he said at one point, which is absolutely simply untrue. And economists argue that his trade war is not only going to lead to inflation, possibly stagflation, but also, of course, is going to lead to massive supply chain difficulties and prod the country into a recession later this year. He pushed back against reporting about his approval ratings cratering. I mean, in every single poll that we've seen over the last few days, at the 100-day mark, his approval rating is somewhere between 41 and 44%, and some polls have recorded an 8% fall in the president's approval ratings over the last 6 or 7 weeks. Donald Trump just said he didn't believe it and said that actually, if you looked at what he called legitimate polls, his approval rating is in the 60s, even the 70s, he claimed, the 70 percentage point mark. There was also one other phrase he used in that speech, which I thought was interesting, where he started talking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Remember this American sort of obsession with the 100 days that a president initially serves in office goes back to the Roosevelt era, because Franklin Delano Roosevelt, in his first 100 days, engaged in this sort of tsunami of activity, and everybody has been sort of held to that standard ever since. He made the point that Franklin Delano Roosevelt had been more than a two-term president. And the question that continues to hang over Donald Trump is he going to try and find a way of running again in 2028? And I thought that use of that, pointing out that Roosevelt was a more than a two-term president, was not coincidental.
Well spotted, Simon. Simon Marks, LBC News Washington correspondent, cutting through the noise as always. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. You're listening to me, Charlotte Lynch, here on LBC News.